Three, and we're recording. Okay, hey everybody, how you doing today? Paul Waller here again. I'm president and founder of Christian Sports Medicine Alliance. We are on, I do believe, episode 10, which this will be also a video recording that will be dropped sometime next week for National Athletic Training Month. So I just want to introduce our guest today. She is we've talked on several occasions pre-COVID, and we were just talking offline about opportunities that we have coming up that we've been given clearance for in Belize. So we hopefully will be getting clearance to go back into Honduras sometime soon. So without further ado, I want to introduce Haley Wyatt. She is an athletic trainer, obviously. And Haley, how are you doing? Good. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to join you guys. I'm doing good. It's pretty rainy here in St. Louis, but other than that, it's been pretty mellow.
Awesome. So Haley, just share your story like we do with all the other ones. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your testimony. How did you get into athletic training, and where are you at? What's your job setting look like?
Yeah, so for me, I actually grew up in a very faith-based home, grew up Southern Baptist, and I was actually introduced to athletic training through my pastor, who at the time I did not know would soon become my program director. So I'm from a rural town in Zanesville, Ohio, and I was always interested in going into the medical field. I've always had a passion for helping others. But I've also always played sports. I've always had some kind of capacity in the athletic realm, whether it be participating as an athlete or as a coach, as a volunteer. But I wanted to combine my passions into some kind of career where I felt like I was being fulfilled. And so I actually met with my pastor, and he introduced me to athletic training. And then I applied and ended up going to Muskingum University, where I got my degree. And so he was then my program director, and now is my colleague, now that I have graduated and have been in the profession for 2 years. So now I work for a nonprofit in St. Louis called Athletic Care. And our mission is to serve the underserved. So we go into those schools that don't necessarily have the funding or the access to athletic trainers like some of the bigger schools would. And we provide athletic trainers and safe sports programs for those schools. So it's a really great mission. We're not necessarily a faith-based organization, but we do share our faith with each other. I have some amazing Christian colleagues. So it's great. We all kind of fellowship together, and it's been a great environment.
Awesome. So so how many are you assigned to just one school? And
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm assigned to one school. I'm at Lindbergh High School, which is here in southern St. Louis. It's one of our largest schools. There are about 2,500 kids at the school. I have about 850 athletes to myself.
Wow. To yourself.
Yeah. It gets kind of crazy.
It's pretty bad. That's pretty nuts. Well, how did you come to know Christ, and how is your faith and the profession how do you mesh that together?
Yeah, so as I said, I grew up in kind of a faith-based home. It was a big aspect of my childhood growing up, and I think that growing up in that environment, it's continued to stand true and important to my heart to this day. Being in St. Louis, it's a very diverse community, so sharing faith in our line of work can be kind of difficult. But I think the biggest thing is that we remain open, and so I'm willing to share my faith with my athletes and my patients as long as they're comfortable sharing theirs with me, and we ask questions, and we're just a very open community and a very open environment, and I think that leads to great things.
Awesome. Have you met any challenges or obstacles now being a professional? Have you met any of those with sharing your faith and in your workplace?
Not so much as a challenge. I think it's just overcoming those difficult questions, those difficult positions. Whereas, if I've encountered not so much athletes, but parents that if I'm sharing, my faith and my beliefs, one of the big things that I like to do is I'll pray before a game. Um, and so it hasn't been so much of an issue now with COVID. Obviously, we don't have spectators, but there were always some questions that I would get, and they could get kind of uncomfortable. But I think as I become more enveloped in the profession, I'm learning to share my faith in ways that aren't necessarily difficult for people to understand, and it's easier for me to explain myself to people and to share my faith.
How would you, I mean, share with me a little bit more about that. Because I've worked in 3 different high schools, and all 3 high schools were very different in demographics and socioeconomic status. And my first high school was, my principal that I worked for. I mean, at the high school, he was my discipler. He discipled me the whole time I was there. And then I go into different high schools, and you find different faiths in those schools. And I'm just a very intriguing person. I'm very curious about other people and where they're from and their culture. And so I'm always asking, kind of like you, I'm always asking questions about, okay, well, tell me about this. Tell me about this. How do you find that being the case where you are? And if so, how, there may be someone listening to this that they're in the same situation. How would you encourage them to continually live out your faith and not be necessarily overbearing, but just be a light to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think my school is a very diverse school. They're a little bit more of an affluent school, a little wealthier than some of our other schools, but I definitely see a diversity in faith. And I think one of the biggest things for me in shining my light is not being afraid to ask that question. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I noticed. If it's something that my athlete's noticing, it's reading their body language, determining their comfort level, and not being afraid to ask them, like, hey, is there something that you want to share with me? Is there a question that you have? And just being open and to having that conversation.
Yeah, I found that to be the same thing, and I've also found, just because of doing that, um, I'm actually thinking of a situation this past week. I was working with a girl that was, she actually is an athlete at a local high school in my area, and she is of a different faith. And we just started a dialogue and just started talking about, what I believe in, what she believes in, and kind of, I mean, it was just really a kind of a neat opportunity for us. And I feel like that is a great way for us as athletic trainers, especially in the Christian community, that we can develop those relationships with our athletes and our patients that maybe come from different faiths, to learn about them and not be in our little bubble, and learn about different faiths. And it seems to me that they will be more comfortable with us, and we're able to develop that relationship that's needed.
Absolutely.
So tell me how is the last year, 18 months? Because I mean, everything changed for you. I mean, with COVID in your setting, what challenges have you met and seen, and have you had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID has impacted us all heavily in different ways of our lives. For me, the school that I'm currently at is not the school that I was at last year. I was at a much smaller technical school last year. And with COVID and some decisions that were made, the school board decided to forego any kind of athletics at that school from here forward. Um, so for me, it was, I'm going to have to start fresh at a new school when things finally settle down. And who knows what I'm going to be walking into with COVID. And then the other aspect of it was, with our company, all of our schools shut down. Obviously, we didn't have athletics because of COVID. And so for a little while there, we were unemployed. Um, and I think just staying strong in my faith and working through the power of prayer and meditation and all of those things were great in keeping me both sane and on the path that I wanted to be on. And now here we are getting ready to start our spring season next week, and things are looking great.
Awesome. And where do you see this year for you professionally and your journey, your faith journey? Where do you see it taking you? What would you like to be doing going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, going into this year, I really just want to kind of expand my horizons. I want to impact and touch the lives of as many people as I'm able, whether that be finally getting to do that mission work that we've talked about,
Yeah.
or, just seeing where my path takes me. Every day is a new day, and we wake up and things might not be the same, and that's okay. But I just hope that I'm able to continue to touch the lives of the people that I'm surrounded by.
Awesome. And before we close, what is that? And I ask this to everybody because I mean, it's different for everybody. What is your foundation verse or verses that you ground yourself in, that has grounded you? I mean, that has kept you, lack of a better term, sane, that you kind of hang your hat on, that's really, like I said, your foundation for life. What is it and why?
So mine would definitely have to be a verse that my grandma imparted on me. It's her favorite psalm. It's Psalm 61:2. And it's, for when my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And so I look at that every day. I actually have it hung in my bedroom. And it's just a mantra that life's a climb. You're going to see those mountaintops, but you're going to hit those rock bottoms. And the important thing is that you continue to walk in your journey, and you're going to eventually reach the top, and you'll get to where you want to be.
Yeah. I haven't. I probably have read that verse. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to read it over again and reread it. And that's awesome. That's really a great reminder. And Haley, yeah, you and I have we're kind of joined. We're kind of related, kind of in a way. You have a little friend with you at all times, like I have a little friend with me.
Yep.
We are, and I like to throw this out there when I can. We're both pit bull owners.
Yep.
Your dog Apollo is, and if whoever's watching it, if anybody ever follows her on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you probably will see more pictures of Apollo than you would Haley.
Oh, you absolutely will. It's Apollo, and then it's my athletes, and that's it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Her dog, obviously my dog is cuter, but anyway, Apollo is, you just need to go and find Haley Wyatt on Facebook and just look at her dog pictures, because Apollo is one of the cutest dogs in the world.
He's pretty cute.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
Got a personality to match.
Yeah, he does. And he's very photogenic. He loves taking pictures. And the one thing that will stand out to everybody when you see him will be his ears.
Oh, absolutely.
He has sonar large ears that stick up all the time, and they're just the cutest things in the world. But well, Haley, I hope and pray that we can get you on the mission field this summer. I hope it works out. I know that we'll be in touch with each other. But again, thank you very much for doing this for us. I can't remember what day you're going to be on, but you'll be on there. It'll drop on Beyond the ATR Facebook page, and then all the other social medias that we have: Twitter, LinkedIn, our main page, our Christian Sports Medicine Alliance main page. And if you are watching this and you're an athletic trainer and you are looking for a place, and that's why I say looking for a place that you can go and you can do life with, you can share your faith, look up Beyond the ATR. It's on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at tweetcsma. Follow us on Twitter there. And we'll share as much content as we can. We're working on our YouTube channel to get content, educational content, put up there hopefully soon, to be broadcast and shared all over the world to our contacts through CSMA all over the world that we have. So again, Haley, thank you very much. Hope you have a great rest of your your week, going into the week, and stay safe. Take care of Apollo, and we will talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.